Now, speaking of the war in the Middle East that continues, and today being the 18th day of the war, the continued blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has now left global economies high and dry. But the man who finds himself in the sticky situation is President Trump. With no breakthrough in sight, Trump, however, had hoped to announce a naval coalition of 7 countries. He had named them even to send their warships to secure the Hormuz Strait and also to unblock when it comes to the Iran-enforced blockade. Now, his allies, even in Europe, warned, even when it comes to China, to pitch in, but it seems that this very request by President Trump has been snubbed by multiple countries. They are saying that they are not a participant in this war. However, Donald Trump seems to be venting out his frustration over the lack of enthusiasm when it comes to other countries to join together in policing the Strait of Hormuz.
And we're hammering their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz with more than 30 mine-laying ships destroyed. We hit, to the best of our knowledge, all of their mine-laying ships. Now they can put them on other types of ships, I guess, and drop them in. But we don't know that any have even been dropped in. We're not sure that any have been. That's a big negative for them if they do it. It's a form of suicide. But we don't know that they have dropped any in. But we've hit all 30 of their ships and destroyed them. They're all at the bottom of the sea. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. You know, we get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, and some countries get much more. Japan gets 95%, China gets 90%, many of the Europeans get quite a bit. South Korea gets 35%. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait. We have it in very good shape.
Now, what is even ironical that China, being an ally of the U.S., of the Iran, U.S. has now been expecting that China would also come in the aid of the United States of America. And yet Donald Trump, however, has not sought help, but even sent out a veiled threat. And now what President Trump says that if you don't help, then I will delay the summit with Xi Jinping that is expected to be held in Beijing by the end of this month. But the world probably has had enough of Trump's bullying, because most of them who requested to pitch in have said no. Germany pretty much has summed up the sentiment, and what does Trump exactly expect when it comes to a handful of European frigates to do that, especially when it comes to what the U.S. powerful Navy cannot? Because remember, President Trump had also given the assurance that the U.S. Navy would help escort when it comes to the stranded tankers. Now, others like the U.K. have also made it clear that this is not our war. So as far as when it comes to the quotes that are now playing out from the German defense minister, from the UK prime minister, and also from the German chancellor, clearly stating out their country's position. Japan has said no, so has Australia. Now, there are dramatic moments that now seems to have been, when it comes to escalated, when it comes to such kind of statements that have been coming in as a rebuttal to President Trump's grand coalition plan when it comes to policing the Strait of Hormuz.
The Strait of Hormuz is then a separate discussion, and it is a discussion. We're not at a point of decisions yet, and I want to really stress that. It is obviously a difficult question, that goes without saying, in relation to how you safeguard maritime traffic through the straits. Everybody knows the geography and the risks, but we are working and discussing that with the US, with Gulf partners and with the Europeans, and I discussed that yesterday with President Trump in the way we often discuss things. So that's where we're at on that. There are no decisions having been made. It'll have to be something which is agreed by as many partners as possible, is my strong view, and we're not at that stage yet, but we are working hard. I discussed it with President Trump yesterday in the way that you would expect between 2 allies and 2 leaders, and as soon as there's more to report, I will make sure that you have that.